It is historical because this is the first ballot measure in the nation aimed at changing the Israeli policies through divestment by state agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shakeel Syed, S-H-A-K-E-E-L, last name Syed, S-Y-E-D. I am the Executive Director of the Islamic Shura Council and also a member of this coalition calling for divestment. I will be your host, try to organize this in the next few minutes. And I'm very happy to have with us a very diverse group of Californians from across the faith spectrum and also professions, and also an Israeli-American citizen with us this morning. All of us here are united in one purpose, and that is to call upon CalPERS and CalSTRS to divest its fund from corporations that support human rights violations by the government of Israel on Palestinians and the Palestinian land. This initiative, Divestment of State Retirement Funds from Israel Act, is also supported by people of conscience from across the world, such as the Nobel laureates Archbishop Desmond Tutu and Mairead Maguire. Today we are glad to announce that the California State Attorney General has approved this divestment initiative as Citizens Initiative 10-0020. We are starting today the collection of 434,000 signatures to make it to the statewide ballot in 2011. And we plan and we intend to work as hard as possible to persuade our fellow Californians to support this measure, making it a California law. People can indeed learn more about this on the website israeldivestmentcampaign.org. This is the first ballot measure in the nation aimed at changing the Israeli policies through divestment by state agencies.
Today I lend my name and my support to a crucial ballot measure calling for divestiture in companies that aid the Israeli occupation of Palestine and perpetuate the brutal blockade of over 1 million people, half of them children, in the ever more crowded Gaza Strip. As a Jewish woman of conscience, as a teacher who contributes to the California State Teacher Retirement System, I do not want my name nor the fruits of my labor supporting companies that collude with the government of Israel to steal Palestinian land, bulldoze Palestinian homes, or imprison those in Gaza routinely denied access to clean water and medicine. Now is the time for Jews, Christians, Muslims, and all believers, be they believers in the higher power or simply in the power of love, to stand for human rights and to demand that our public institutions like CalSTRS and CalPERS sell stock in corporations that profit off the misery in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, making us less safe. I urge my fellow teachers to echo my call. Let us divest our stock in Caterpillar, which makes bulletproof tractors that slice Palestinian homes to ribbons in minutes. Let us divest of General Electric that builds the weapons that terrorize the next generation in Gaza. Let us give the people of our great Golden State, California, an opportunity to promote peace by saying no to companies involved in ever-expanding settlements that erase the beautiful, ancient olive trees of Palestine only to generate more hatred.
I have experienced Israel's illegal occupation firsthand when I was at Birzeit University on the West Bank. The Israeli military routinely interfered in the Palestinians' right to education by forced closures, checkpoints, roadblocks, and the arrest and incarceration, often without charges, of students and teachers. For over 40 years, Israel has been violating international human rights as well as the Fourth Geneva Convention by changing the infrastructure, building Jews-only roads, and by illegally demolishing over 25,000 Palestinian homes. Israel denies basic humanitarian needs to the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. The Israeli army and the illegal paramilitary settlers have committed willful killings of Palestinian civilians. Israel continues to deny the rights of the Palestinian people, and it has committed war crimes against them. In fact, the UN Human Rights Commission has determined that Israel is committing, quote, crimes against humanity, unquote, in occupied Palestine. For this reason and many more, PERS and STRS should divest from companies that support Israel's illegal activities. And I hope that people of California, with conscience and supporting peace, will sign on the divestment petition.
The right of return is a principle of international law codified in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and in UN Resolution 194. It's been reaffirmed yearly since 1948 by the UN General Assembly. A Jew born anywhere, anytime is granted instant Israeli citizenship with all its benefits under its law of return, while Palestinian refugees are denied their inalienable and legal right of return, which, as I've said, has been affirmed each year by the UN General Assembly. 2 out of every 5 refugees in the world are Palestinians. If you've ever visited a Palestinian refugee camp or stayed overnight in a Palestinian refugee camp, as I have, you immediately understand the unacceptable conditions which Palestinian refugees have lived in the West Bank and in neighboring countries like Lebanon for over 60 years. The right of return must be an option for them. Palestinian refugees in Iraq are of special concern because they have experienced forced displacement once again by the U.S. invasion of Iraq. The Palestinians must be treated equally. The right of return must not be denied, and we need to support this petition for divestment from Israel.
Many governments and corporations and unions around the world are divesting. We want to protect our investments from corporations contributing to Israelis' illegal occupation of Palestine. Britain, largest trade union, Unite in Britain, has called for boycott, divest, and sanction. The motion, which passed unanimously, called the union to vigorously promote a policy of divestment from Israeli companies, while a boycott of Israeli goods and services will be similar to the boycott of South African goods during the era of apartheid. We want our retirement funds to be invested ethically, not to support illegal Israeli occupation of Palestine and Palestinians. We do not want our retirement fund to be used for promoting violence against Palestinian children, women, and innocent victims. We want CalPERS and CalSTRS to divest now.
In our research, we have found that more than $1.5 billion of PERS and STRS is invested in companies that provide materials and services to Israel's illegal settlements and occupations. They include groups such as Caterpillar, Motorola, which provides radar systems, Northrop Grumman, which provides military equipment, United Technology, which produces the helicopters that are used to kill, and Elbit Systems, which is providing security and night vision pieces for not only the wall in Israel, but the border wall on the border of Mexico and the United States. We are calling for divestiture from those companies. We've also found that both STRS and PERS have policies and procedures that govern their investments, and this initiative directs them to do so. We want PERS and STRS to invest in human rights, and not in denying human rights. Hampshire College, companies in Washington, food co-ops in Washington have divested already. We want California to become the first state to do the same.
As an Israeli citizen, I can tell you that although the Palestinians, Arab citizens of the State of Israel, are a national indigenous minority, which constitute 20% of the total citizens of the State of Israel, and are entitled to full equality, they have been subjected to systemic and institutionalized discrimination in all aspects of life since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. One of the best examples of the apartheid nature of the State of Israel is in its land laws. These are indeed apartheid laws because they enforce preference and exclusion on the basis of religious affiliation, allocating in law privileged access to the land, including housing and water, to persons defined in law as Jews, and discriminating against those defined in laws as non-Jews, mostly against the Arab Palestinian people. In other words, these are racist laws, in sense, defined in the international conventions that Israel has signed and ratified, such as the 1965 Convention. However, Israel has refused to join such other international convention on the suppression and punishment of crime of apartheid of 1973. So we are here calling to divest from Israeli apartheid, and the BDS campaign worldwide is the right, non-violent campaign to end Israeli apartheid.
We are now on our way to collect 434,000 signatures, of which we probably have collected about 10, and you're more than welcome to come now and join us in signing your name. There are 2 boards here, one for LA County and the other for the Orange County. Please feel free to write your name and your details, and we thank you so much for coming today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And be in peace.
If they're from another county, we can give them a...
We have LA and the Orange County.
Would you just tell people they have to be registered voters, please?
You have to be a registered voter, and we urge you to please come announce yourself as your name and the organization you are affiliated with, and go and sign. You can form a line right here.
Oh, okay.
What do you do if you're from another planet, like the guy that asked the last question? Yeah, let's do it.